We're going to start off with the Premier League, where me and Sim both think Spurs will finish in the Premier League next season. So let's have it. Sim thinks fourth.
I've gone
and
fourth.
I've gone for third.
So you're surprised at my fourth, but you're not. But you put us higher. Like, fourth, all right. In that third.
Yeah, my thinking behind third is because I think some craziness is going to be happening in the Premier League this season.
Craziness.
We know 115 Man City charges is going to come to light in January, February time. So we'll see what happens with that. But my thinking behind third is I'm thinking that a certain team is going to drop out completely.
I see. So you're thinking that if the charges are brought to City, that then Tottenham will be bumped up one. And
basically,
when's that going to happen? Is that going to happen?
They're saying January, February.
So you're confident enough to put it in your predictions that you reckon Man City are going to get relegated?
I wouldn't say confident enough, maybe stupid enough.
I have gone for fourth. I think hopefully we sort out these bloody back post issues that we've been detailing in our pre-season analysis. But I'm liking the shape of the squad. I'm liking where we're heading. I like the young players that are integrating. I actually think there's a chance we could go above Liverpool, given that they haven't made any signings and they're going to be in a transition this season under Arne Slot. But I'm going to bank on the fact they probably make one or two signings between now and the end of the window. And if they do, I think that just about keeps them above us. And I think quality-wise, they still have the quality edge on us at the moment. But I do think, looking at our rivals for that top four position, Man United, Newcastle, Chelsea, I just think we're a bit more settled at the moment, potentially. I think the quality of the squad, I rate ours at the moment. And I like the way we play football, and I think we're more geared to control and win games than those teams at the moment. So I've just gone for us to sneak in that top four. And I think as well, obviously, Villa got the fourth last season. I'm just not convinced that they've massively improved their team.
Made a hell of a lot of signings, though, haven't they?
They have, but I'm not convinced that their first 11's improved. And albeit maybe you could argue their squad depth might have improved, but I'm looking at their first 11. I don't think they have a better first 11 than last season. I don't think Diaby and Luiz have been replaced by better players. I really don't. And I think with Champions League football added into the mix, I think it's going to be a bit of a tougher season for them. So I've gone for them to drop down a bit. So I've gone for Tottenham to steal that fourth place.
And you never know how Champions League football for the first time is going to impact their season as well. We envisaged maybe Europa League was going to massively impact it. And I guess it did. They did have a drop off towards the end of the season. It's just that we had a bigger drop off than they had, which was unfortunate. But with Liverpool, you are going into the unknown. It's really hard to predict, isn't it? New manager. It's always hard to follow on such a big figurehead in the club. You look at Man United after Sir Alex, you look at Arsenal after Arsene Wenger. Now this is Liverpool after Jurgen Klopp. Are they going to have a massive drop-off? It's going to be interesting to see.
Wait and see. We'll get into that in our Premier League predictions, I guess. But I've gone for Tottenham to get back into Champions League football, and I think that would be progress.
Let's look at where we think Spurs are what we're going to do on our European exploits. Are we going to win the Europa League this year? Doesn't look like me or Sim think so, but Sim has gone for Spurs to lose in the final.
Heartbreak.
And I've gone for Spurs to lose in the semi-final.
Look, I'm looking at the teams, and look, I think we just got, at the moment, the teams are in the Europa League. I definitely think we've got to fancy our chances of having a deep run, for sure. And considering there aren't going to be any Champions League dropouts after the group stages as well, which I believe, if you look at the stats about who has been finalists in the Europa League, I believe like in the last 10 finals, like 8 of them or something, or 7 of them have been finalists. 5 have been Champions League dropouts. So that's a big advantage of this is the first year. There are some really good teams in there. I'm watching Porto last season. I don't know how many, if they've lost any of their main players. I can't think of anyone off the top of their head they've lost.
There's rumours that Galeno's going out the door.
But he hasn't gone yet. So at the moment, they've still got their core there. Did the manager leave? I think.
Yeah, the manager left.
The manager left. So they do have a different manager, but they've got a really good squad, and they gave Arsenal a run for their money in the Champions League last year. So they have something to worry about. Obviously, Man United are in there. Ten Hag has previously got to Europa League final with Ajax, got to a semi-final of the Champions League of Ajax as well. So, they've improved as well, their team. There's someone to be worried about. Sociedad will have a really good team, albeit Moreno might be leaving, but Zubimendi's staying. They've got a really good front three. So they're definitely a team to be worried about. There are some good teams in there, but I think teams will be fearing us as well. I think teams will be looking at us thinking, I don't want to be drawing them early on, especially in the knockouts. And I think Tottenham have got to be looking at this as a real opportunity to break that trophy duck. And I think Europa League is a really good opportunity this year with no Champions League dropouts. We're definitely going into one of the favourites. But I just feel like if I say we're going to be winners, I'm jinxing it. So I'm saying we're going to get to the final. I don't know what will happen.
You're jinxing us getting into the final.
Not necessarily. I don't think it's the final. Look, we've been to enough finals at this point. I don't think it's a jinx, but I think I can see us getting to a final. Whether we win or not, obviously it's a one-off game. Who knows? But I'm going for us to maybe get some heartbreak. But I'm going for us to get to a final. Yeah,
the team I'm fearing kind of the most is Athletic Bilbao. They look like a really, really good side. Had a good season last year. Nico Williams off the back of that Euros has another year under his belt. He's going to be, someone definitely to fear in this Europa League. And also Fenerbahce dropping out from the Champions League last night with Jose Mourinho. He's going to want to prove a point if he gets Spurs, if he draws Spurs in the Europa League. So, yeah, I agree. There are quite a few teams that you need to worry about. The ones I've got here are Bilbao, Porto, United, Sociedad, Fenerbahce, and then lesser so Roma and Lazio, which I think on our given day we can beat any of those sides. Mm-hmm. We can. But the one I really do fear the most is Bilbao. I think they're a really top side.
If you go 1 to 11, though, you could definitely argue we have the best side in the competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely make a case for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, we have to go deep into the Europa League this season, and if we win it, it'll be a major success for this football club to get back in the Champions League as well if we win it. But we've got predicted us both get back into the Champions League anyway. But look, final or semi-final, would you be happy with both here and now saying, get to a final, get to a semi-final?
I wouldn't.
Is that success?
As long as we're getting into the top 4, I think it's progress. I wouldn't say call it success, but I'll call it progress. I would say that's evidence that we can manage European football while having a good league campaign, and that's exactly what you need to be a top club. So I'd be happy if I'm sat here at the end of the season, we've got top 4, we've made a European final. I'm not going to be sitting here saying I'm disappointed with Ange. I think that would be clear evidence that he can manage a squad for a good league campaign, get into the top 4 while also managing a European campaign and having a deep run and getting to a final. And that would show me evidence that this is a project to invest in my opinion, if we were to do that. Obviously, I'm not going to be sitting at the end of the season deliriously happy that we haven't won another, if we haven't won either of those trophies, but it will definitely show progress, and that's the main thing.
Next up, let's look at the FA Cup. Not won the FA Cup since 1991. Sim's gone for Spurs to get knocked out in the 5th round, and I've gone, is one better the quarterfinal, or is it 2 better?
6th round is the quarterfinal.
Yeah, so I've gone for one better in the quarterfinal. And we did get really unlucky with the draw last year, drawing Man City in the 3rd round, was it? Or the fourth round. Oh yeah, we beat Burnley in the 3rd round. And I just feel, with the luck that we got in the draw last year, luck's due to come our way this year in the draws for the FA Cup. So I think we meet one of the big boys, whether it be a Liverpool, a Man City, someone like that in the quarterfinal, and go out. But I think we'll have it our way until then.
I just think 5th round. I believe the 5th round would be around February, March time. I would think. And with European football coming back into the fold, I think we're going to take that very seriously. Obviously, Premier League football always takes precedent with a challenge to get back in that top 4. I just feel like if we get a difficult draw away at a Premier League side, there's some really good teams this season, teams who are not in European football, who are going to be concentrating on the FA Cup and these competitions. And I feel like they will have the impetus on those competitions more than Tottenham. So I feel like if we get a Premier League away team in that kind of round, I reckon I could see us going out. Unfortunately, no, it doesn't even have to be a top team. It could be like a Wolves, or it could be something like that, or a Bournemouth. I can see us going out.
That'll be a major disappointment if we do go out to like a Wolves or a Bournemouth in the FA Cup. It really would be. But last but not least, we're going to look at the Carabao Cup, and we've both gone for deep runs in the Carabao Cup as well. Sim's gone for semi-final. And I have gone for us to see those armpits, to lift that trophy.
We are winning the trophy.
Come on, we're winning the trophy. And everyone goes on about Spurs, never win trophies, never do this, never do that. But when we do win a trophy, it usually is the Carabao Cup. So 99 and 2008, obviously, were the last two times that we have won a trophy. And they were both the League Cup, the Carabao Cup. And I feel like Andrew's going to bring one home this year. And I think that's going to be it.
Obviously, last year... we went out in the second round of the Carabao because that was one of Andrew's first games in charge, and he rested everyone and he wanted to take a good look at the squad. So that was really unfortunate at the time. So we went out on penalties. So look, I do expect a more solid run. Obviously, with it happening in the first half of the season, I know we're going to have European football, but hopefully we'll be a bit fresher than the heavy legs of when it gets to crunch time in the second half of the season. I can see us having a deep run. Once it gets to a two-leg affair against a top team, which I assume we will be facing in the semi-final, you never know. If we face a Liverpool, an Arsenal, Man City, even a Man United, a Newcastle over two legs, I don't know. I've just got a feeling over two legs we might get undone around that time. It's around December time as well. Fixtures are coming thick and fast. We're still going to have European football as well. So I reckon semi-final... we might bow out in a two-legged affair.
You've gone for a lot of heartbreak this season.
That's Spurs. I'm a Spurs
You've gone for a lot of heartbreak.
It's usually a good prediction.
We have to win something this year. Top four and a trophy has got to be the aim, and we've got to succeed. Come on.
Look, that's what I want. Obviously, that will definitely be the aim. If we can have some deep runs in the Cup and show progress in the league, I think the club will find that acceptable. But obviously, the aim will be to win that trophy and break that duck. And I don't say, look, once you get to a final, anything's possible. And I'm not saying we definitely won't, but I'm just predicting us to have a bit of a heartbreak.
Would you say that's a good season, the predictions that you made?
Is it a good season? Yeah, I would say it's a good season. It's not a successful season, but it's definitely a positive season. I don't think you can say it's not. Like, I don't think Andrew's under pressure when he has that kind of season. In fact, you're probably sitting here at the end of the season saying he's done a really good job, probably, if we do that. Obviously, it's all context dependent, how badly we lose in the cups and stuff like that, and who we lose to as well. If we lose to a team we really should be beating in a final or something, then that'll count against him. But I definitely don't think people would say that's a bad season. If we finish fourth, we get to finals, and we show progress, and we show more consistency in the league, I think that's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's not either just a bad or a good season. Could be a mediocre season. I think, like, if we do finish top four and don't bring a trophy home, I'm not going to be overly delighted with the season. I'm going to think, like, yeah, good season of progression, but we could have done more. That's what's going to probably make me sit here feeling we just need to bring that trophy home. Mm-hmm. We just need to bring it. And would I kind of give up progression in the league and at the expense of a Carabao Cup? No, I wouldn't. Would I do it for an FA Cup? Probably no. Would I do it for Europa League? That's a different question. Maybe I would. Maybe I would accept finishing 5th or 6th if we bring home the Europa League and get back in the Champions League next season. But is it worth it for an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup, would you say, not showing progression in the league?
No, because Andrew will be out the door. That's the reality. If we're not showing progress in the league, if we're stagnating in the same way that we did last season, and we're showing that same traits that we did, we can win a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup. Or if we're finishing like lower than we were last season, Andrew's going to be under pressure and he could well be gone. That's the reality. That's the cutthroat nature of being a Premier League manager. You need to show progression. And the board care about Champions League football. They care about getting that Champions League money so we can progress as a club and spend more money on players and the club get more money. That's what their focus is on. So the club don't care about... I mean, obviously they would like to win Carabaos and FA Cups, but they wouldn't... If you gave the board a choice, Carabao Cup or FA Cup or Champions League football, they're choosing Champions League football every time. So that's what they're judging it on, right? So if I want this project to work and I want Ange to be here long term, he's going to need to do that.
Do you think no matter what, if we don't finish in the Champions League spots this season, he'll get sacked?
No, not unless we win Europa League. I don't think
That is getting back in the Champions League.
Yeah, I know. So you're saying if we finish outside the top four, right, and don't win Europa League, obviously it all depends on the context, but I think he's under pressure. If he wins if he finishes fifth, gets a deep run in the Europa League, and wins one of the Carabao or FA Cup, he'll probably be okay.
Because there's still a case to say it's not beyond all realms of possibilities where we do show progression in terms of our football playing consistently better and still not finish in the top four, with other teams coming to the fore. You don't know, because other teams could be progressing at a faster rate than us. We could still show progression and still not finish in the top four next season.
I would say it's unlikely, but we could. I mean, we got 66 points last season, right? 70 is usually what you need for Champions League football. If we get 70 and don't finish in the top four, that's unlikely, I would say. So I think it's unlikely we show progression and don't get top four. I mean, it's possible, and if we say at the end of the season we got 75 points, so we're finishing fifth, I'll say, look, I'll hold my hands up and I'll say that's it's unlucky, but it's worth pursuing. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think if we show progression, we will finish in a higher place.
Well, those are our predictions for the coming season. Let me know yours in the comments section below.